Welcome back to Touchdown Tech. This is episode 5. In the last episode, we got to talk to Tyler Wagner. That was really fun. In this episode, we're going to mention the bye week last week that Tennessee Tech had, as well as preview the Tennessee State game that's coming up this Saturday. So, Adam, like I said, bye week this past week, pretty good spot for a bye week.
Yeah.
Get your guys healthy, get some practices in, and get ready for conference play, which is the meat of the schedule. That's what really matters.
Yeah, rest the boys up, fix the wear and tear that's happened over the first 3 games. I think take the opportunity to look over some film, see what you did right, see what you did wrong. I think this bye week comes in a really good spot. I think, you get your first 3 non-conference games out the way. You get warmed up, you get ready, you get the game plan set, you know what you're going to do, you know what games are going to look like as a team. Now you're heading into conference play. That's when it really matters. That's when you're gonna, actually have to get wins. You always want to get wins, but that's when they count. We're trying to win the OVC championship here, so we need everything we can get.
Yeah, I agree. With this team, you found out a lot about your team in the first 3 weeks. You got to, you got to see what this team's capable of, and it's scoring a lot of points, and it's not allowing a lot of yards, not allowing a lot of points on the defensive side of the ball, so that's really good. You've got a lot of confidence, I would think, going into this conference play slate, so that's really good as well. But, yeah, we got the opportunity to watch a couple practices last week over the course of the bye week. That was a really cool experience.
Yeah, we did. It was a great experience. We went Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday's practice was very cool. Got to see them do a lot of teamwork. Got to watch them do some drills and stuff like that. Couldn't take any photos because there are rules about that, and we don't want to get our heads bitten off because we are very humble and appreciative guests.
Yeah.
But Friday was a little more loose. They were just conditioning. We got to have some good conversations with Coach Wilder. We asked him about 2 stories that are coming up in this edition of the Oracle, which we both are a part of. So we got quotes for that. We got to talk to him a lot about just football and the team in general. We got to talk to a lot of the players. Apparently a lot of them know about the podcast, so shout out for that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. And we appreciate it. We really do. Overall, it was a great experience. Got to meet a lot of cool people. Got to meet some assistant coaches. Everyone there was very nice, very humble. No one was rude. It was a great experience overall.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. Definitely my favorite of the 2 practices was the Friday practice.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Getting to talk to everybody and just we talked ball with Coach Wilder for probably 30 minutes. I mean, it was just a good, natural conversation.
Yeah.
And it was really good to meet those players as well. We got to talk to Tim Kutris, Torin Baker, Kakoa Paris, QB1, Drew Wilder. We got to see T-Wags again. That was cool. He brought over Obi Sani. We talked to him for a minute, and Hudson Tucker. I mean, we just a bunch of players that was really cool and a good experience, and we're really grateful for that. We want to thank Coach Wilder for that opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
Just such a cool experience.
Yeah, he's very cool. Throughout the whole experience, he talked to us like we were, just 2 dudes there. He didn't treat us like we were media, and he wasn't trying to, I don't think, put on like a good impression. I think that's just genuinely who he is.
Yeah.
Overall, he great dude, really. That's all I can say about him. He's a real class act. I think he's really bought into the community around here, and I think that's why something like this, like our podcast, coming and being a part of practice, I think that's all of that getting set up is his kind of community first mentality.
Yeah, he seems very open and welcoming to media, especially like students like me and you. You know, he seems pretty welcoming to that. He wants a certain amount of media to be around his team because those players deserve to be bragged on. You know what I mean? They deserve that.
A spotlight.
Absolutely. So that's good. And from our conversation that we had with him, Coach Wilder has just adjusted really well to how college football is nowadays, and he's done a really good job at building Tennessee Tech back up from what they were when he first got hired. It's really amazing the progress that he and his staff has been able to make in these year and a half. You can't even really say 2 years yet. Just the year and a half that he's been here, it's remarkable the progress he's made.
One of the quickest turnarounds I think I've ever seen as a college football fan in general. I mean, it's fast. Going from what were we 3-4 or in conference play, I think, and then we were like before he took over. Before
he took over that year, I wasn't covering Tech football. I think they won 3 or 4 games. Period.
It was either we were 3-9 or 4-8.
Yeah,
not where you want to be.
No.
So to turn it around, and now we're looking like we could have a really good season. We might, take the OVC championship outright. We might even be in playoffs. We'll see.
I think so. I think this team's good enough to do it.
Yeah.
I really do. I think this is the best team they've had in 50 years, maybe even more so, maybe beyond that, to be honest with you.
So overall, it's incredible what he's done. I don't think we could brag about it enough, really, but we're going to have to stop at some point.
Yeah.
I think let's move into Tennessee State. Let's talk about them. We'll talk about the big elephant in the room, which is their offense, and it's not great.
No, it's not. Particularly their passing game.
Yeah.
It needs a little bit of work. Their quarterback situation is a little bit wishy-washy. They started with a guy named Jonathan Palmer in week 1, and they were able to beat North Carolina A&T, win a close game. Fast forward to week 2, and this is really where the wheels fell off. They had North Dakota State coming into town, the number 1 ranked Bison, the best team in the FCS.
Yeah, that's tough. That's bad.
North Dakota State is a program.
Yeah.
They are an absolute powerhouse.
Yeah.
Like more so, this is a crazy statement, but more so than Alabama was in the FBS when Saban had them rolling.
Yeah. No,
This bunch right here, they're winning it every year.
Yeah.
Just doesn't matter who they have it.
Domination outright. And we talked to Coach Wilder about that. One of the things I did want to mention was one of the little tidbits I got from Coach Wilder was he talked about position groups and sizes compared to programs like North Dakota State and stuff like that. And I think he said when he took over, they were only at like 2 of 10 position groups matching up size-wise. And now they're at 8 of 10. So that's one of the big reasons this team's made a big turnaround is we got some big dudes now.
Yeah, the size difference is a big deal. It kind of reminds me of like Nebraska in the 90s in college football. They were just so much bigger than everybody else, and they were a dominant powerhouse. You have to match teams physically if you want to compete, and that's at any level of football, especially college football. You have to match them physically, and Tech has been able to do that because of the success of this staff and the roster, the roster management is what I'm most impressed about this staff, because that's a huge part of college football nowadays. You've got guys, everything's a moving part. These are all moving parts. These are players, and they have lives, and they're we respect them all. But as a coach, you have to look at your roster as a bunch of moving parts, and he's been able to construct his rosters these past 2 years to where they have at least a chance to compete. And this year, they're so much more advanced than they've been in that category in so long.
When everyone's the same size, it only comes down to coaching, and we got a pretty dang good coach.
No, so, I agree.
I think that's the biggest thing. But let's jump back to Tennessee State.
Right. I was just saying North Dakota State. They had them come into Nissan Stadium, 59-0.
Yeah.
Final score, or 59-3 or something. It was a blowout.
Yeah.
What you would expect, honestly. That's how good they are. They're a powerhouse, and they brought in multiple quarterbacks in that game. They were just trying to figure out something that was going to work moving forward. They brought in a new guy this past week against Alabama A&M. His name is
McNair.
Yeah, it's Byron McNair is their guy, their new guy. So we'll see if he gets the start against Tennessee Tech this Saturday. Running backs, I was impressed with their running backs.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're very slim on running backs. They have 3 guys with positive yards, and one of them only has 3 yards. So it's they're slim, but they're good.
Yeah,
they have Kendrick Rhymes.
Kendrick Rhymes is really good. He's probably their biggest offensive threat, in my opinion, is Kendrick Rhymes. And they've got a good freshman running back too, by the name of Zach Simmons Brown, who had a really good game last week. He broke a long run against Alabama A&M. So we'll see. They had a close loss with Alabama A&M. They're 1-2 right now through 3 games. Yeah. So they're still trying to figure it out, I think. They also had a bye week this past week, so they're coming off a bye week, so they could look like a different team this week. I don't know. It's hard to predict what this game's going to look like.
Yeah, their train is off the rails right now, but we'll see if they've been able to put anything back on. I think that Tech is looking at a game where you're going to focus on the run game. I don't think. I mean, obviously you got to worry about passing. You can't just blitz the entire game, but passing isn't going to be their main concern. They know they're having a bit of a quarterback situation in that locker room. I think, stacking the box is going to be Tech's main priority throughout this game. I think defensively we can do that. We got guys like Swafford and all that. They can get back there, and they can get through an O-line like that. So I think it's all going to work out for just fine for Tech. I'm predicting a win. I don't think we got much to worry about.
Yeah. Well, The tests is what I'm not worried about anything about this team, but there are certain tests and there are certain questions that you have to answer. This is the first conference game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are you going to look like when the cards are on the table? And this is a real game. This is the first step towards your goal, which is shared across the whole team. Your goal is to win the OVC championship outright and be the champions.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's very clear in the message at practice and in the multiple press conferences that I've been in on with Coach Wilder. The goal is to win the conference championship. That is very clear. And they all have the same goal. In order to do that, you have to start off conference play the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this team will do that. Another question is, how do you look on the road? This is the first road game of the year. You know what I mean? It's different playing on the road in college football. It just is. Playing in Nissan Stadium. You're not playing at Tucker Stadium.
Yeah.
This team is so veteran, though, and they're so mature. I really don't think they're going to have a problem with that. If this was a young team, I'd be a little bit worried. But this is not a young team at all.
No, absolutely not. We got a lot of guys transferred, a lot of veteran leadership. That's one of the things Wilder talked about at practice was a lot of these guys, they've been around. You know, they know how to be a part of a team. They're not new guys. They're I think it was like 24 was the age about average for the team.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so a lot of older guys, a lot of guys that he said you don't got to make them go study, you don't got to make them go to class, you don't got to make them come to practice. They're all invested in. So that's one of the biggest upsides for Tech is that they have a lot of guys who have the right mindset. They're not still kids. They're about grown men.
Yeah, no, they are grown men. You're exactly right, and that's such a luxury to have for these coaches to have guys that are not only super coachable but can almost coach themselves because they've been there and done that at their respective programs. So a lot of guys have been at programs that competed really well in the playoffs last year. It was another thing he was talking to us about, and I like the makeup of this team. I've said it all year. I said it even before the season started. I like the makeup of this team, and through 3 games, that's only proven my point even further. They're better than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah,
personally, a lot better.
Yeah, I thought looking, at the season before it started, I thought, in these first 3 weeks, obviously, Davidson had their number. I wasn't worried about that.
No, Davidson, yeah.
Chattanooga was the one that I was a little concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
That's next year's conference opponent. That's a Southern Conference team.
Yeah.
Thought they were going to be pretty nice, and Tech made them look like they weren't too good at football.
Well, yeah, Chattanooga was receiving votes to be in the top 25, so they were a established football team that was supposed to make some noise in the FCS a little bit. But I will say this: when I noticed the rain and the forecasted rain for the rest of the day, and I knew it was going to be kind of a muddy game, I felt really good about Tech's chances. And I'll tell you why. He mentioned the Gardner-Webb. Coach Wilder mentioned the Gardner-Webb game last year in which they went to Gardner-Webb and everything was shut down. It was like a middle school game is what he described it as because there's no headsets, there's no technology, nothing. It's lining them up and playing.
Yeah.
And Tech dominated Gardner-Webb. 52-21 final score. They ran for over 300 yards. I think it was maybe like 350 yards on the ground. It was something unbelievable. And to me, Tech's identity, especially on offense, is kind of surrounded around that. Running the football and just pounding it down your opponent's throat. And so once I seen the rain start falling and Tech kind of getting rhythm, they scored on the first drive. I thought this one could get out of hand because this is their game. This is their atmosphere. This is what this team wants.
Yeah, Tech is a team that loves to run. It also helps when you have the leader of pass completion percentage in the FCS from last year. So I think it's like a two-headed dragon. I think you cut one off, the other is gonna burn you alive.
Yeah. No, I agree. You're so balanced. And Coach Wilder's talked about this a bunch too. Just the balance that they've had on offense so far through 3 games. It's really impressive. Going out and getting quarterbacks like Kokovis Paris, that was key in the offseason. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That was really a great addition, and he has met the hype and then some so far.
Absolutely. Exceeded all expectations, really, for his tenure. It seems like everything has fallen into place, but I think, quite frankly, he's put a lot of those dominoes into place himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think he knows how to build a program like this. He's done such an incredible job. That's all you can really say about it. There isn't much. There's no secret sauce.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to it other than him just knowing how to build up a program. His coaching, his ability to go out and recruit players, all of that is something that he's done.
Yeah.
So I think that he's built this program up into a powerhouse, and I think it will continue to be a powerhouse. And I I don't see that changing really.
Yeah. Everything's in front of this team. We keep saying it a lot, throughout the duration of the podcast episodes. Everything's in front of this team. They can go as far as they want to because they have the talent. They have the coaching staff. They've got it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this Saturday, you're going to be coaching against a first-year coach in Reggie Barlow, who is, I won't say struggling, but he needs some momentum to go his way because, the guy before him was a legend.
Yeah.
Eddie George was a legend.
Yeah.
And he was a good coach at TSU. That's why he's at Bowling Green now, because he did well at TSU. And so that's going to be Coach Barlow's going to have his hands full, with Tennessee Tech coming up this Saturday. But it would be a good game for him to kind of make some noise and to kind of get the fans off of his back a little bit. Because I know to try to follow Eddie George in anything football related has got to be tough. You know what I mean? That's like following. It's not a good comparison, but it's like Kalen DeBoer at Alabama trying to follow Nick Saban. It's not the same thing, but it's those fans are a lot harder on DeBoer because he's Nick Saban's predecessor as opposed to, you know what I mean? So I think that's a tough job. That's a tough position for Reggie Barlow to be in, but that's not Tech's fault. That's not their problem.
Yeah.
Their goal is to run right through Tennessee State and keep the momentum going. So
yeah, he's got about size 15 shoes to fill, and he wears about a size 9.
exactly.
So it's going to be rough for them, and it's hard to get that momentum. He needs something to go his way. It's hard to get that when you got Tech. We're on a roll. We're moving.
Yeah.
It looks like nothing can stop us right now. So it's going to be tough. It is really going to be tough. I don't see Tennessee State being much of an issue, really.
Yeah.
So I think team's got everything squared away. I think we prepped really well over the bye week. We saw them practice a bit when they were during the bye week. We saw them practicing on Sunday. So I think they were ready. They were practicing today in the rainy weather.
Yeah.
I saw them this morning when I was walking to the office. So I think this team's ready. I don't think there's anything that Tennessee State's going to throw at them that's going to throw them for a surprise.
I'll add to that. I saw them practicing on Sunday.
Yeah.
Last Sunday when I was doing layout at the office, I saw them out there practicing. I was like, man. I mean, to them, it's probably just the standard. It's normal.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm thinking, I wouldn't really want to be practicing on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's two people who used to play football. You a lot more successful than I was, but it's two people who have been through practices and who have had to do that. I could not do it.
Yeah.
I would hate my life if that had to happen. But I'm sure those guys, they're just fine with it. That's just a regular practice for them.
They want to be out there.
Yeah.
I go ahead and tell you, they want to be out there. They want to get better. They want to. They want the same goal. They want to win that conference championship, and to do that, you have to do things like that. So that's just kind of, like I said, their standard. You know what I mean? But yeah, to go back to TSU, flashback to last year, Tennessee Tech opened up conference play against TSU last year at Tucker Stadium. That was a close game, a really close game, and Ty Moss had a pick six late in the game to go up 24-14. That was the final score, but that was a good TSU football team. At the time, I didn't know it because that was my first time covering anything FCS, anything OVC, anything Tech. I didn't know how good TSU was. They wound up winning a share of the title as well, and I think they even got to go on to play in the playoffs and, kind of left us out. We beat TSU. Was kind of it's like, what's happening here? It was the same thing with UT Martin. We beat them too. They got to play in the playoffs. But anyway, TSU was good last year. I don't know who all they've got coming back. I don't recognize a lot of the names. Their run game is going to be pretty good, but Tennessee Tech's defensive line, like we were mentioning earlier, if you can just stack the box and make TSU throw it to beat you, I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah. I really don't see anyone having problems on that D-line. I really don't think there's any mismatches. I don't think there's anyone that we can't handle. I know Theron Gaines is probably going to have himself a day.
He's been Mr. Consistent so far. Not only Mr. Consistent, he's been dominant.
Yeah,
through
absolutely.
3 games.
I think, we might get tested in the run game a little bit, but this is a new era of college football. I don't think you can win games with just running it down your throat anymore, especially not with a team as explosive as Tech. If you had a team that, like Iowa was a few years ago, that can't score a point to save their own butt.
Well, yeah.
You might get away with running the ball and draining the clock, but I think Tech's offense is going to dump on points, and that's when you got to play keep up. That's when you have to say, okay, well now we gotta get this going a little bit. We got to score pretty quick here, so we have a chance against these guys. And I think Tech can stop them. I think they're not gonna have any problem stopping them, forcing them to punt. I think Tech's gonna outpace them scoring wise. So I think even if their run game is good, and I think if they do have a good day, I don't think that what they can do is going to keep up with Tech.
Yeah, no, I agree. And kind of going back to the run game thing, I think you can win games running the ball for sure, but where it separates people is the championship teams. The championship teams can do both on offense. They're balanced. They can get you through the air or on the ground. And pair that with a good defense like Tech has. That's what I'm saying. This offseason, they have really, focused on certain position groups in order to build a championship team.
Yeah.
We'll see if they have that. I think they look pretty good, and they're in a good spot right now. But, yeah, no, I agree. It's tougher to win. It's going to be tough to win the conference championship and complete your goal by just running the football. But that's why we got Kakoa, and
absolutely.
he's tearing everybody up. So I'm not worried about that at all.
I think now's a good time to transition to Dude of the Week.
Good idea.
We don't have specifically any Dudes of the Week because we didn't play last week.
Yeah, you probably didn't think we were going to do Dude of the Week this week.
Yeah.
So the bye week, but we are. And we'll probably just end off on this segment, too, if you want to.
Yeah, it's a good little place to end it.
I think so, too.
So for Dude of the Week this week, first off, Tyler, who do you think Dude of the Week is? We both know. We've talked about him a lot this episode. His name's been brought up quite a bit.
I've got Coach Bobby Wilder as my Dude of the Week this week because he's just such a genuine guy. He's full of energy. The players seem to really like him. He's a great coach, obviously. I mean, I would. This is my personal bias. I think he's one of the best hires that Tech Athletics has made in quite some time. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
The things that he's done for this football team and this football program and this university has been really remarkable in the short time that he's been here. So he's my Dude of the Week this week because he let us come to practice and
absolutely.
He took the time out of his practice to come talk to us, which is that was really special.
Yeah, that's a true honor. I mean, that's something that when I started working for the Oracle this semester, I never thought would happen as quick as it did. I was like, what do you mean I get to meet the head coach of the football team? What do you mean he knows about the podcast?
Yeah, it was cool.
So that was insane. For my Dude of the Week, it's actually a dudette. It is Coach Wilder's dog, Khaleesi, or the director of positivity, as he likes to call her. We watched her run around practice. Seems like she gets along with the players real well. We saw her chasing some critters. So that was cool. Couldn't mention any players. That was one of the most memorable moments of practice was watching that dog run around.
I agree.
So that's my dudette of the week.
That's a good one. I mean, Khaleesi, she kind of runs her own show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Coach Wilder was trying to rein her in a bit, and she was hunting for something.
She's like, I'll deal with you later. I got something I got to do right now.
Yeah.
So she's very focused on the goal, of course. The goal of winning the conference championship, and I don't think they're going to get there without Khaleesi.
No.
So Dude of the Week is Khaleesi. Khaleesi Wilder.
Yep.
So
I think that's where we'll leave off this episode. Overall, great. I think we have a lot to look forward to this season. I think Tennessee State. In my prediction, I don't want to predict anything before it happens, but I think that's we're gonna run straight through them.
Yeah.
Anything else you have to add?
Well, I mean, at some point, this team will face adversity. At some point, they will be punched in the mouth, as Coach Wilder alluded to. But I don't think it's going to be this week.
No.
I just don't. I think it's going to have to take a lot more talent and a lot more firepower offensively than what TSU has. I could be wrong. You kind of hope it does happen this week and that you get over that hump and that you can keep rolling. That way you get it out of the way kind of thing. Because that way you're not sitting there anticipating this punch in the mouth.
Yeah, if it's a bad team that gives you a wake-up call, it's more of a, hey, let's figure this out. Let's not let that happen again. If it's a good team, you risk the possibility of losing, and that's never good, you know. So I think Tech, if it does happen this week, that we get punched in the mouth a little bit, I think we'll get staggered, but we'll easily recover from it, and we'll be like, okay, well, we're not going to let that happen again. We're going to keep our guard up.
Yes.
If it happens later on in the season, I think Tech is still a team that can win. I don't think that, getting punched in the mouth by a good team is going to cause us to lose games. I don't think we're going to get off on a bad track. I don't think the momentum's going to leave us. I think we're still going to be okay. It's just going to be a little more impactful.
I agree.
A little scarier.
It's all about how you respond to it. It's all about how you react.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything's in front of this team. We could talk about it all we want to, but it's at the end of the day, you got to line it up and play. You got to put the ball down and play. So that's what Tennessee Tech and Tennessee State are going to do this Saturday in Nissan Stadium. They're going to line up and play and find out who's the better football team. So without further ado, thank you guys for watching and listening to episode 5 of Touchdown Tech. Catch you next week.